Melissa Peters here with DORN Companies, coming to you pain-free live to help you live pain-free. Thank you for tuning in today for the second episode of the Injury Prevention Academy. On this show, we feature experts who provide insight into topics related to pain management, injury prevention, and ergonomics with the goal of helping you support the safety and well-being of your employees. For over 20 years, DORN has led the cutting edge of workplace safety solutions, offering holistic, proactive strategies to help organizations in all sectors reduce injuries, cut costs, and boost productivity. With a whole person approach to safety that evaluates body, behavior, and environment, DORN deploys custom-built solutions based on trusted science and the experts of a nationwide team of workplace safety specialists. Whether through ergonomic assessments, pain-free treatments, biomechanics programs, technology solutions, or coaching and training, DORN solutions significantly enhance organizational efficiency and employee effectiveness while improving the overall culture of the organization. With an annual ROI of over 600% and a reach of over 100,000 employees, we have saved employers over $100 million in workers' compensation and healthcare claims and costs. Joining us today is Lorena Zeballos, who is a senior trainer and provider and ergonomic specialist for DORN Companies. Today, we'll be chatting with her about how to keep frontline manufacturing staff injury-free during the pandemic and beyond. Thanks so much for joining us today, Lorena. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you?
Oh, we are hanging in there over here on day 187 of whatever we're on.
I know.
You taking some time to chat with me today. I think it'll be some useful information. So to kick it off, can you just give us a little bit of background of your training related to safety and ergonomics and how long you've been doing this?
Most definitely. A little bit about me, about my background. I've been in the medical industry for 22 years and doing deep tissue work for 20 years. That's as long as I've been married too.
Oh, well, the two must be related.
Yes. And I've been with DORN for 4 years. I'm also a certified industrial ergonomic evaluator. With DORN, I do site assessments. I do on the floor coach and monitoring, biomechanics. Yeah, so it's been. I know.
A Jane of all trades, as I like to call it.
You know, and being in the medical, I've seen and learned the needs of the people. So I'm just glad for this opportunity, you know, to share.
Excellent. We'll definitely be using your expertise there, which we'll dive right in, which is, you know, the last few months have been strange times, to say the least.
Yes.
First and foremost, thank you for your continued work over the last few months. So to start, just give us an idea of, having been working on site over the last few months, what are some of the major changes or differences that you've observed, whether through your own experiences or what you've observed on sites that you might work for?
You know what, I can't say it's been easy, you know, as being an essential worker, it hasn't been easy for myself. So I put myself in the shoes of the employees and see, you know, what their concerns are, not only physically, mentally, but, you know, the fact that they could lose their jobs, you know, the decrease in hours, the sudden job changes that can happen. So, you know, I try and create that positive environment. I always give positive feedback, positive reinforcement when they're coming in to visit me. If they're not comfortable, I do my best to make them comfortable and see how I can help them, either by the 6-foot distance or the hands-on therapy. So.
Okay, so you kind of just hinted at it a bit there with the idea of social distancing. What are some other precautions that you have seen taken on site that help to ensure both the protection of yourself as well as the employees with whom you're working?
DORN itself, and this is something that we've always done, is currently we're following the CDC protocol, what their guidelines are, but DORN or myself, as a therapist, have always maintained a clean environment, disinfected, and also self-care, using the mask, using the gloves, and as the pandemic has slowed down a little bit, now I ask the employees at each session, what, would you like me to wear? The gloves, the hands-on. I'm going to hand sanitize. I'm going to wash, making sure I have enough of that hand sanitizer on hand, because lately it's been a little low there. But, I always try and make things as comfortable as I can for the employee.
Excellent. That sounds like that involves a lot of adaptation. I think we can all relate to having to have made some adjustments. So when it comes to just this kind of turbulent time, even as we see things maybe steady back out, what are some concerns that people have expressed to you as they've continued working? And how might this relate to their health and well-being or pain and discomfort levels just as they deal with very real concerns?
That's a good question. There's several things that have come up. One of them, even with that I saw personally happen to me, is the decrease in hours. That's mentally stressful. How am I going to pay mortgage, and then what can I do to make things work? Or, my spouse had a decrease in hours. So now I have to see what I can do to make things work. So with that being said, I see the employees, I hear the employees express, I had a decrease in hours. Now I'm stressed. I have a lot of shoulder tension. What, right?
I'm guilty. I carry my stress in my shoulders.
So even though it's mental stress, it affects our body. We tense up. So, guiding them on things that we can do aside from the positive thinking, but, correcting their body mechanics, doing some self-care techniques. And then also the other thing that has been expressed to me as a concern is that they are not going to be able to come and see me. To receive the hands-on therapy, either because of the decrease in hours, their shift changed. Now they're no longer in the evening crew, they're early morning crew. So now their therapy has come to a halt. When they were at a pain level of 7, we were almost there at a pain level of 3 and 4, and now they're going to have to not see me for the next 2 sessions. What can they do? So I always try and talk to them about, let's see what you're doing at work. What movements are you doing so I can correct your body mechanics? Let's see how your setup is at work. So I can schedule something where I can go out onto the floor and watch them working, and then guide them on things that they can do to correct themselves.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Because that blends very nicely into where I want to go for next, which is a deeper dive into looking at issues related to pain management and injury prevention. Sounds like maybe there's been some disruption in services for folks who have continued to work. But another thing that's, on my mind that I'd like to hear about is, what about the folks who were furloughed for the last couple of months and are coming back now? What do we need to have in mind for those people who are coming to do, high activity jobs, but have been at home for the last couple of months?
It's funny. As a therapist, I was doing maybe 3 days a week of hands-on therapy, and then all of a sudden it's like we had to also stop at one of my jobs, and now I have to go back. I'm thinking, oh gosh, I'm gonna fatigue. So I can relate to that question that you're asking, but definitely we're going to see a lot of deconditioning. So their body, again, going back to that body mechanics, observing how we're doing things, using the muscles properly. So,
Can you give a little bit of a definition of what you mean by deconditioning?
um, well, I'm off for 3 months, and now I'm expected to go back and either lift up an item that's about 60 pounds, and where I've been off for 3 months and I haven't lifted anything that's that much of
Okay.
a so that deconditioning, my muscles aren't conditioned, aren't ready to go back to that. So again, that's where the body mechanics plays a huge role. Using our muscles properly, not lifting from our shoulders, but using the core, using our legs, the whole body to do things properly. So again, when I'm seeing the employees coming in, I'm teaching them, I'm guiding them on how to do things properly so that their muscles don't fatigue as fast.
Okay. And now, is having gone through deconditioning, when people come back to the job, are they at an increased risk for injury? Are they, what would you say there?
Most definitely, they will see that repetitive motion. Again, the muscle's going to stress. Um, they will have an increase in injuries. So again, it's highly recommended that they, if we have a technique training, we have so many programs that we can help so that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think about. I can admit, like, I'm someone who works from home in more of an office setting, but I can relate to even I've had a foot injury for the last couple of weeks, and even I can finally walk up and down the stairs by myself again, but it's a little bit harder than it felt like a couple weeks ago. I think the crutches might have helped put me into shape a little bit.
It's funny that you're bringing that up. I'll admit I've been sitting on the couch working on my laptop, and I'm trying, okay, no, I have to go onto a good sturdy chair and do things properly. Then I noticed that I was starting to get a little bit of a little leg thing going on there. And I, again, corrected myself. I started doing self massage, and
Okay.
also did an ergonomic evaluation on where I'm sitting. And obviously it was incorrect. And it actually, the pain went away. So
Well,
little things like that. Don't sit on the couch to work. Does
uh,
help.
that goes perfectly into what I wanted to get next. You've mentioned self care a few times. So, is there a tip or two you can give to me and some listeners that maybe they can do when they're taking a micro break, or they have a moment in their car before they go in and start their shift? What's something simple, a quick tip that you have for us?
Okay, so what I've noticed, even when I'm doing the hands-on therapy, that the person, we forget to breathe, that we hold our breaths. So that's one thing. Make sure you're always breathing through every motion that you're doing. Kate mentioned in your previous interview, making sure that the body's in neutral, making sure that the head's aligned, the shoulders, as we sit up, right? Making sure that everything is maintained. Bring your shoulders back. Something so simple. My biggest thing, and even when I'm teaching body mechanics, is maintaining a strong core. When you draw in your belly button muscles, it helps the back from doing all the work. So whenever I guide the employees with body mechanics, I always tell them to engage your core muscles. That alone will straighten you up. It'll, make you nice and tall. And this is something that you can do in the car, just drawing in those belly button muscles, even in the work. So if you're doing it in the car, if you're doing it when you're sitting, when the person's out there doing their job, when they're rotating, maintaining that core doesn't allow for the back to be the one that's doing all the work and the movement. You're doing everything in neutral position.
Okay, great. Last real question before I just have you give us a takeaway message. I want to bring everything together and how things intersect. So, from your perspective and what you've seen, can you speak to how current guidelines, from social distancing to having to wear masks, how that impacts or connects with ergonomics, pain management, and injury prevention. Do you see the two intersecting with one another?
Most definitely. It's funny. I went to one of the facilities, and I'm guilty. I had to wear goggles, and I already wear the mask, and I'm already having a hard time breathing. So that's why I mentioned make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath. But when you're wearing those goggles, they can you get fogginess because of the mask, and you have the visual impairment. So you want to make sure that you're wearing the goggles properly. The mask is under, the goggles on top. These companies, some of the companies are doing that 6-foot distancing. They are implementing it. They're really focused on making sure that the employees understand keeping your distance. So when we're brought on, DORN is brought on, they want to make sure, okay, well, we don't want to do the hands-on therapy. What other programs do you have? And currently, that's one of the things that has been brought up to my attention that I'm working on is letting them know, okay, these are the programs we have. We can do a live visual ergonomics evaluation for the people that are working at home.
Yes.
We can do that 6-foot biomechanics. We can do group training. We have that new program for the app that pops up on your screen or your cell phone. Yes. So,
Yeah.
So there's all these programs that DORN has, and, it's important for the company to learn about all these programs that we have to offer. Absolutely.
I tell you what, adaptation is the spirit of the times, and innovation, as we all know. So to wrap things up, if can you just provide one major message or takeaway that you want people who have listened to take from this episode?
Most definitely. It's very important for everybody to know that we are the whole 90 degrees of what we offer. We offer, our programs are tailored or catered to the needs of the company. So, again, the current situation that we're going through, we're tailoring programs to the needs of the specific companies. If they don't want the hands-on therapy, we have all these other programs. So again, we have so much to give, all these programs to give, and it's just very important for these companies to know that we have all these programs.
We're here to partner with folks, and I think that is a critical message, and appreciate you pointing that out. So thank you, Lorena, for your time and valuable insight. We appreciate anybody out there who took the time to listen, and hope you gained something useful. And we look forward to you joining us for the next episode when we get a chance to chat with the CEO and president of DORN Companies, Kevin Lombardo, and hear a little bit about injury prevention in the midst of a pandemic and how to effectively deal with present circumstances and beyond. Thanks, everyone.